Imagine you worked hard enough to become a billionaire and didn't squander your fortune on private jets, golden cars, golden toilet paper, and yachts with helipads on them. Imagine reinvesting your fortune generation after generation until you became one of the richest families in the world. There are some families today whose wealth date back to the mid-19th century. Most families just get together on holidays and can barely stand each other, let alone build an empire. But there are some families that have built fortunes so huge, they've earned spots as the richest families in the world. Who are the families that have retained so much wealth over the centuries that they're now the richest families on the planet? How did they attain this wealth, and how did they keep it for so long? Find out on this episode of Luxury Land. Please super slap that subscribe button and lightly tickle that like button so that you can show YouTube that you like this luxury content and we can bring you more and more. Number 10. Oppenheimer Family, 8.2 billion. Diamonds are this family's best friend. For 85 years, the Oppenheimer family owned all of the diamonds in the world. In 1912, Ernest Oppenheimer became mayor of Kimberley, South Africa, and head of the local diamond company. Why those two things are interchangeable, I don't know. Even though they no longer own all the diamonds in the world, today the family is still one of the biggest providers of diamonds, gold, platinum, and other fancy materials. This family is so wealthy, they are responsible for 3% of South Africa's GDP. Number 9. The Murdoch Family, 17.9 billion. The Murdochs are media masterminds, man. Originating from Australia and the UK, Rupert Murdoch owned over 100 media outlets worldwide. This included gossip outlets like The Sun and respectable outlets like the Wall Street Journal. Murdoch also stayed in power by showing a lack of political bias. He knew in order to keep his monopoly over the media, he needed every form of journalism and every political party to come through his company. Genius. Scary, but genius. Number 8. The Wertheimer Family, 62 billion. The city girls might have made scamming mainstream, but this family is the GOAT of all scammers. In 1920, a new designer by the name of Chanel needed retail advice in order to take her product worldwide. Pierre Wertheimer made a deal with Coco Chanel that ended up with Wertheimer taking 70% of all profits and leaving only 10% to make it back to Chanel. City Boys up 10. Chanel tried to use her Nazi connections to get the company back from the Wertheimers, who were a Jewish family. But Pierre transferred the company to a Nazi guy that he was plugged in with for some reason, then took it back. After her death, the Wertheimer family bought her shares and got even wealthier. Yikes. Number 7. The Windsor Family, $88 billion. This is the British royal family. They run one of the biggest economies in the world and own $10 billion of real estate property, so of course they're one of the richest families in the world. The Queen, before she passed, was worth $400 million, and King Charles III is worth $500 million. His son William is worth $40 million, but the richest royal of them all is Princess Charlotte, who's worth $5 billion, and she's only 7. Number 6. The Morgan Family, 119 billion. This family runs one of the biggest banking companies in US history. In the mid-19th century, J.P. Morgan started his first bank. He managed to finance the North's war effort in the Civil War and bailed out the US economy twice, once in 1895 and saved the banking industry in 1907. Saving the government's butt will naturally give you lots of influence over said government. So the Morgans used their vast money and influence to then innovate the steel, railroad, and the electric industries for even more money. They still reinvest their fortune today and just continue to increase their wealth. Number 5. The Koch Family, 124.5 billion. The Koch family is one of the biggest oil producers in the world and consequently one of the biggest enemies of planet Earth. It is the largest privately owned company in America, and the Koch brothers invest a lot of money into fighting climate change laws to ensure that the company stays hugely successful. This also makes them one of the biggest Republican Party supporters. They have given $1.5 billion to the party in the past decade. They obviously want to keep the business going forever, but at what cost? Number 4, The Mars Family, 126 billion. On a lighter note, this next family is responsible for just a lot of dental visits. The Mars Family is one of the major sweets manufacturers on Earth. In 1911, the company started in a kitchen and from there whipped up a candy conglomerate, which manufactures probably your favorite candy. Number 3, the Walton Family, $238.2 billion. The Walton family has a lot of money, and basically most of it comes from Walmart. The family founded the retail giant in 1962, and it is now the biggest retail brand in the world. The family themselves own a quarter of the $500 billion industry. Today, the third generation of the family has doubled the family's worth in less than 10 years. Most descendants of wealth are spoiled and can't hold a candle to their ancestors, but the Walton family is very different indeed. Number 2, the Rockefellers, $418 billion. The Rockefellers were the most powerful family in American history, which sparked many conspiracy theories over time. John Rockefeller founded the Standard Oil Company, which dominated the oil industry in the US, owning 90% of it. Naturally, this made John Rockefeller the richest American who ever lived. Over his life, he earned over $1.5 trillion. Respectively, after his death, the fortune was given to charities, trust funds, and a small portion was given to his descendants. Ouch. Today, the family has $11 billion in assets and still a $500 billion in trust funds, but still, ouch. Number 1, the Rothschilds, $500 billion to $1 trillion. Being the richest family in the world means you get tagged with the most insane conspiracies in the world as well. This family has been subject to conspiracies since the 1800s, so they have an enigma and mysterious air around their story, and people really will just say anything about them. The Rothschilds started as bankers in Europe, but by the 20th century, they had businesses in over 100 industries. Today, they are worth somewhere around $1 trillion, but they keep their finances private, and as I always say, if I were that rich, so would I. If you want to learn all about the Rothschilds and how they attain their wealth, check out the video on my channel. It should be on the screen. If not, I'm firing myself. Some people find it hard to believe that you can become this wealthy without being a lizard person or becoming part of a secret council, when in all actuality, all you need is some pretty good ideas mixed with determination and some discipline. We've seen mega rich families that are involved in everything from retail companies to candy manufacturing. Let me ask you, what is the idea that is going to put your family in position to be one of the richest families in the world one day? Let me know in the comments below. Click a video on the screen to watch something you haven't seen, and thanks for visiting Luxury Land.